again and welcome to another episode of Diecast Restos. My name's Jason and this is a Corgi Rockets No. 909A Mercedes C111. It is based on the Mercedes-Benz C111 concept car, a fascinating testbed vehicle that would never see production. In particular, this casting is based on the 1969 first iteration of the C111, the C111-1. Corgi Rockets had interchangeable chassis which retained the wheels and acted as suspension. These could be swapped from model to model, and that is my intention here. This Morgan Plus 8 shares the same D-type chassis fitting as the Mercedes. I think the C111 is a far more interesting casting, so that gets preference. I'll be customising this Mercedes today to look more like the original concept it is based on. This is how a fresher Corgi Junior's casting looks, while this is the real deal. I'll be attempting to emulate the colour, wheels and detailing today. The Corgi Rockets range was very short-lived. The first batch were introduced in the autumn of 1969 and the Mercedes arrived in 1970 in both Rockets and regular wheeled Juniors ranges. Each Rockets casting came with a golden tune-up key which removed the chassis from the base and the axles from the chassis. Rocket Lube, which was an oil dispenser in the form of a felt tip pen, could additionally lubricate the axles. Despite winning Boys Toy of the Year awards from industry journals in 1971, Rockets were ceased in 1972 after losing a court case to Mattel. Mattel's claim was that they had sole production rights for associated track systems for their Hot Wheels range. As such, Corgi stopped production of the track first, but with sales of Rockets suffering as a result, they were discontinued too. The C111 Mercedes was unveiled to the public at the 1969 Frankfurt Motor Show. With its Gullwing door design, many had hoped it to be the spiritual successor of the W198 Gullwing and Roadster SL. However, Mercedes remained steadfast that this was a research and development vehicle. Its smooth aerodynamic body was designed by Bruno Sacco, but each of the 6 examples of the C111-1 differed slightly from the next. Most intriguing of all was that it featured a 3-rotor Wankel rotary engine with a total displacement of 1800cc, producing 280 horsepower. For comparison purposes, one of the 6 examples were fitted with a 250 horsepower V8 engine. Its glass-reinforced plastic, bright orange body, pop-up headlights and Mercedes will to continue testing the rotary units all carried over to the car's successor, the C111-2. It made its first public appearance in March 1970 at the Geneva Motor Show. Its body was now slightly longer, narrower and more aerodynamic than before, but was now equipped with a 4-rotor Wankel rotary engine. 7 of this iteration were built, with 1 fitted with a 300 brake horsepower V8. In 1971, due to its poor efficiency and more stringent emissions regulations, Mercedes decided to abandon their rotary engine projects. This did not mean that the C111 was dead though. With the importance of fuel efficiency growing in the 1970s, Mercedes had begun investing heavily into diesel technology. Wishing to disprove diesel's reputation for all noise and no power, Mercedes decided to set speed records in a modified 240D saloon. But looking to further improve and set better and better records, Mercedes opted to turbocharge and intercool the 240D unit and drop it into a C111-2. Speeds of 160 miles per hour were predicted, enough to set records in every class. It was dubbed the C111-2D. The body was modified to reduce drag, including a lower nose. In 1976 at the Nardo Ring in Italy, 4 drivers took turns to drive in 2.5-hour stints for 60 consecutive hours. They achieved an average of 156.5 miles per hour, setting 16 world records, 13 for diesel vehicles and 3 overall. These were for 5,000 miles, 10,000 kilometers and 10,000 miles achieved in that time. This incredible success meant that development went ahead on a scratch-built diesel car, the C111 3D. This third iteration gained more power and an extremely slippery aerodynamic body, complete with a shark fin. In April 1978, it set a further 9 records at Nardo. By 1979, the C111 was distinctly different to that car originally revealed in Frankfurt a decade earlier. What was to come of the final iteration was worlds apart. The C111-4 was another built solely to set records. It had a huge front splitter and now 2 shark fins to improve aero. Instead of a fuel-efficient diesel, it was equipped with a 4.8 litre 500 brake horsepower twin-turbo V8 from an S-Class. It hit 250 miles per hour. In total, Mercedes built 16 C111 chassis, 13 Wankel engine first and second generation cars, 2 diesel engine third generation cars, and a single 4th generation V8 powered car. So that brings me neatly to reassembly. I reattached the Rocket's D chassis to the base, with my custom wheels already inserted. Next I pop in the blue tinted transparency, followed by the detailed plastic insert, which includes the engine, interior and front grille. Lastly, the base connects via a slot fitment with the rear facing 3-pointed star and pushes over the narrow rivet at the front. So this is how my Corgi Rockets Mercedes C111 appeared when I found it. Missing its chassis, I had to nab one from a Dole Morgan casting, but this tacky navy livery had to go. Something else that had to go was the chrome plated interior plastic. So I gave it its proper livery of an orange body with black base and found some wheels close to the ATS Pentas Mercedes originally fitted to the C111. And this is how it all came together. Now sporting a bright orange body, I've combined TAMIYA's camel yellow with clear orange to create a replica shade that I'm very proud of. Teamed with the black base and almost replica wheels, it gives this custom a great basis for me to focus on some of the smaller details. Like the simple rear grille and lights for instance, which look very much like the real thing. The casting lines on Corgi Juniors and Rockets were raised rather than sunken, as found on later castings by other manufacturers, so the shading is a little patchy in places, but I'm otherwise pleased with the result. I'm especially pleased with the grille piece attached to the interior, with that giant Mercedes emblem taking pride of place. And the chrome trim on the auxiliary headlights treated with Citadel looks effective. But that's all for now. Be sure to like and subscribe, and support the channel on Patreon if you can. Links to Patreon for previews can be found at the end of the video or in the description below. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again for the next one. Bye for now.